Sorry, I look atrocious. I woke up from a nap like 2 hours ago and did not feel like making myself presentable. So I'm in a different area. I am in my big study room in my dorm, and I just thought I might as well make another video because there's no one here, and I can, hopefully no one's gonna walk by this big window and see me talking to my phone. Today I decided that I would make my video talking about the application process. I filmed during my entire application process, from application to I think up to 3 weeks after my phone interview, just one time, just as a check-in, just so you knew what was happening. And I looked at it and I was editing it, and it was the first time I had ever vlogged, and it just wasn't what I wanted it to be. I thought it would be a good idea to get it in the moment, get my genuine reactions to everything that was happening, but it was too long. I didn't think it was very helpful. But if you want to see that video, I can post it. Let me know if you guys want to see it. It's kind of corny. It's got stupid montages. And so here is my application process video. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the application. Applications dropped on January 26th. I applied the morning of January 26th. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning, California time. I put in all my information, and I looked at my dashboard, and I saw that my dashboard was in progress. So I was like, that's a good sign, it's good, in progress is good. And then I went to class, and I hadn't gotten my thank you for applying email, and I was worried because I was like, oh crud, what if I didn't get the web-based? But during class, I got the email, so it's all good. So after I got that, I came back to my dorm, and I looked, and I got my web-based interview invitation, and I couldn't do that right at that moment because I didn't have that much time between my last class and my next class, so I had to wait till I was done with classes for that day to do my web-based. But I came back right after my last class, which was a class that I'd move a lot, and I was really tired, and I was really hungry, but I didn't care because I just wanted to get home, and I just wanted to do my web-based. So I went home, and I went straight to my computer, and I just opened my laptop, clicked the link, made sure that I had a good internet connection, and I just went for it. And I kind of regret that because I was really hungry and I was really tired. So I would suggest, if you're going to do your web-based interview, give yourself time to decompress, make sure you're not hungry, make sure you're rested, make sure you're focused and you don't have any distractions around you. Put your phone somewhere else, because you're timed on it, and you want to make sure that you do your best. In terms of the actual interview, I would say the biggest piece of advice that I can give you is to have very definitive opinions. They're going to give you a series of scenario questions about your work habits and some personal information about yourself, and they want to know that you strongly agree or you strongly disagree. Put about, I would say, 7 to 8 neutrals, and probably about 5 or 6 agree or disagrees, but everything else was a strongly agree or a strongly disagree. And I would recommend not doing too much more than I did, because that was, I think that was pushing it a little bit. Yeah, just make sure you have some very definitive opinions, but don't freak out if you think you need to put it a neutral or a agree or disagree. The only other piece of advice I give you is read the questions really carefully. You're timed, and you have a fine amount of time. It's, it's not that big a deal. But make sure that you really read the questions really carefully, because they're going to ask you the same questions over and over again, but they're going to word them really differently. And if you answered one way for one question and another for another question, but it was really the same question, they're going to look at that and they're going to see that you're inconsistent, and that's going to not make you pass your web-based. For example, they'll ask you how on time you are, and they're going to give you a series of answers. So if they say how on time you are, they'll probably ask you, do you come into work late a lot? Stuff like that. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to follow. And yeah, you just have to give the most similar answer you can that you gave to the other questions. So after I passed my web-based, I got straight to my phone interview. And just to preface, I did my web-based interview on the same day I applied, so that was January 26th. And I scheduled my phone interview for Friday, January 30th. Basically what I did to prepare for that was I watched a bunch of Disney College Program phone interview questions. Spring 2015, there was a very big change in the way that they interview. It is a very different style, and it's less about what can Disney do for you. It's a lot more what can you do for Disney. I would suggest watching spring 2015 and I guess now fall 2015 phone interview videos. They're going to give you the most, I guess, relevant information for how Disney's doing their phone interviews now. To prep, I watched those videos and I found some questions floating around. I'd say know a lot about the roles that you want, know a lot about your previous work experience and how that experience can relate to your to the jobs that you want at Disney. What I did to prep in terms of like writing stuff down and getting information down, I wrote down potential questions they could ask me about the roles that I wanted. I put an interest in everything, so I couldn't write down questions they would ask me about all the roles, but I did attractions, character attendant, and Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique because those were my top 3 roles that I wanted. I didn't put anything about hospitality. It was a moderate interest role for me. I'm happy that I got it. She never asked me any questions about that, and I think they ask you a lot of questions about roles along the lines of attractions, merchandise, quick service, custodial, and lifeguarding. And I think a little bit about main entrance or transportation, because they do ask you sometimes if you have a driver's license. They ask you if you can swim, so lifeguard. And I guess sometimes they can ask you some other questions, but those are kind of the main that I think people hear. Those were the kind of the questions that I set myself up for. And then I also answered some general questions, which are like, when did I handle a guest that was difficult? When your day for your phone interview actually comes, stay calm. You're gonna feel nervous and you're gonna feel stressed, and that's totally normal. You're getting interviewed by Disney. Stay positive, listen to some Disney music, watch some interview vlogs. I would say with your papers, I'd say have a space you can write down your recruiter's name, and make sure that when your phone interviewer picks up the phone or calls you, you write down their name as soon as you hear it. That you can address them, so that you can address them by their name later. So with whatever time you have for your phone interview, mine was 5:45. I would suggest having yourself like in phone interview mode for like a half an hour before. It's possible they can call you early, and that means like if you live with a roommate, that they leave. You have your phone ready, you have your questions ready. While you're waiting, you can have some Disney music in the background. That's what I did. The Wishes soundtrack is a fantastic way to get you in the mood. Make sure you have water, and make sure it's like open so that while you're talking you can drink, but you don't have to worry about, loosening the cap and stuff like that. Make sure your phone is charged. Make sure, you have reception. I know some people like to do theirs in their car, but sometimes people get kind of like overwhelmed by that. I don't know. I sat at my desk so that I could look at something, and I had my mirror in front of me so that I could make sure I was smiling, and that just gave me something to focus on so I wasn't getting distracted by people around me. So my phone interviewer called at 5:47, and my phone interview lasted for 21 minutes. And my recruiter's name was Danielle, and she was fantastic, and she was very to the point and direct, and but we had fun, and it was, she was very nice, and I felt like even just after she called, like after the phone started ringing, I just felt myself just decompress and relax, because I just felt like it's happening, there's nothing I can do, just go for it. And that's all I can really say about the general idea, is just go for it, have fun. They want to know that you're really excited to work for Disney, and they really want to know that you would be a good fit for their company. They want to say yes to you. It's not that they want to say no to you. They want you to be a fantastic opportunity for their company. So I guess some just general tips. You're going to hear this one everywhere. Smile. They can tell when you're smiling, because if I were to talk like this, I don't sound as exciting. But when I talk like this and I'm smiling, even if it's a fake smile, like my voice. Make sure you have water. Make sure you're using like clear, coherent sentences. My interviewer asked me role-specific questions about quick service food and beverage, attractions, character attendant, I guess lifeguarding, because they asked if I could swim, and I guess either transportation or main entrance ops to drive the tram, because she did ask me if I had a driver's license. I think she asked me about merchandise too. Just some very basic questions, and honestly I thought that because of the lack of role-specific questions that I wasn't being considered. So if you don't get any role-specific questions, you could still be considered. And then it's also important, it's not like dire, but it's just typically good form to ask your interviewer some questions at the end of your interview. He or she will ask you, do you have any questions for me? This concludes our interview. Do you have any questions for me? And I asked, what are some basic qualifications you look for in a Disney College Program candidate? And she said someone who is very open to the 3 aspects of the program: the living, the earning, and the learning. And I had expressed that I was really interested in the classes that they had, and I really wanted to take the entertainment show design because I wanted to work for Disney in the entertainment department for my career. And along those lines, I'd say make sure you make when your interviewer asks you about why you want to do the college program and how it'll benefit you, relate it as much to your major as you can and how it's going to help you in your career. I told her I'm a theater major with an emphasis in directing, and taking the entertainment show design class would be fantastic and that would be great networking opportunities for me. Learning to deal with different kinds of people, would help me being able to deal with different directors and different designers and stuff in my career. So just, getting, more people skills in a more professional environment. So anything you can do to help, this program is going to help you in the future, which it is. Even if you never want to work for Disney again after this program will help you. It's great. So after the phone interview, I cried a little bit and freaked out a little bit, and then I calmed down and I was okay. And then the worst part about the application process begins, which is the waiting. And it's when you check your dashboard, I'd say 5 times in an hour, and you check your email 10 times in an hour. And even if it's on the first day, right after your phone interview. What I found happened this semester was people were NLIC'd right after their phone interview, within, I'd say, 4 hours of their phone interview. So if you make it past the 4-hour mark, you're in pretty good shape. I'd say if you make it to the 72-hour mark, you're doing pretty good, and you're definitely being considered. There were some people who had their phone interviews and they were put directly into pending. What I found that most of those were restricted rehires. I waited almost 4 weeks after my phone interview. Some people heard back within 3 weeks. I know some people heard back. I saw one person today get accepted after the day after their phone interview. It just depends. What happened was waves happened from Wednesday to Friday, about every week after the 3-week mark of the first phone interview. So after that first phone interview, 3 weeks passed, and then the waves started happening, and they kept getting bigger. So if you're not in the first wave, don't worry. Just be patient, and that's so hard to do, especially when you're like me and you're very impatient. It'll happen, and I promise you it's the best feeling ever when it does happen. It's not over until you see the letters NLIC. I'm sorry this is kind of a long video, but I'll put the markings of where each section is. So if you're looking for some specific information, you can look in the down bar, and I will have the information about what time to click at if you want to listen to a specific part. So that's it for this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Comment anything you want me to do. I don't know how this YouTube thing works, but yeah, so I will see you guys later. Have a magical day.